Senior Max Heat 2 then. Sadly no Steve Alvarez-Brown this weekend, but still lots of talent on the grid. We've got Ryan Willis on pole position alongside it Sam Light, then behind them Charlie Ellis, Jamie Perrelli, Lucas Ivaskavicius. We found that one really difficult last time around. Ivaskavicius, thank you very much. And alongside him it's Tommy Edmonds.
Well, Lucas is normally a Rye House regular.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't pronounce it when I was there. Scott Smith and then Jude Fernahoe, then Lorenzo Cordal and Joshua Valance rounding out the top 10. Then it's Alex Eads and Jack Stedman. Then behind them, Brandon Klein-Nanglevort. Then it's James Jackson and Samuel Hawthorne. Then Joshua Barton, Scott Lapsley, and then William Young. Then rounding out the top 20, it's William Ellswood and Samuel Cook. And it's Ronnie Smith, Luke Collins, David Altger. That's another tough one. And then Archie Walker as well on P24. And finalising your 26-car grid is Harry Gibson and Lewis Wild. Yeah, when I was at Rye House the other weekend, I went up to Lucas and asked him how to pronounce his last name, and he told me, and I still hadn't got a clue. So I decided to call him Lucas for the whole day.
Well, I have to give a shout out to David Outleichner. I found that pronunciation thanks to Henry Baudet.
Go for that one again.
Outleichner.
Outleichner. Okay, thank you.
The thing is that with Polish surnames, especially when you get SCS, David Vistor, for instance, it's a very different pronunciation sometimes. I used to get wrapped around the knuckles, well, not literally, but verbally speaking, by Kasper Tomilewski's dad, because I used to say Tomilewski.
Yeah.
And that was in the early days when I was at Rye. So you find out quickly when people tell you, but sometimes it takes a few times to either hear it or say it.
I just had to apologise last time. I've got such a British tongue that anything past like John Smith and I can't do it.
I mean, looking back at the heat yesterday, Sam Hawthorne took the victory from P4 after 12 laps. Brandon Klein-Nagelvort, who said he was going to avoid me in the paddock walk, don't worry, we weren't able to get close to you in time, I'm afraid, my friend. Started P2, finished P2. James Jackson rounded out the top 3, but Archie Walker, fastest lap of the race, P12, 45.2 seconds on the final lap of the race. Lorenzo Cordal, 14 positions gained in Heat 1. Alex Eads from X-Kart, 10 positions gained from 26th to 16th. And there was only one front fairing penalty. Ryan Willis, who ended up finishing 22nd. And still, no matter where we are, whether it's on commentary or on a paddock walk, we still hear engines being revved in the pre-grid.
Indeed. Luckily, people can still hear us this time, though, unlike in the paddock show where I didn't hear a word of your first couple of interviews. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, because I managed to catch up with Jacob Dukes and the man that is known as the Charmander, Ewan Charman.
Yeah, he's got a great lid design.
He's got, yeah, because he's got, I mean, that nickname has stuck for forever. I mean, I caught up with him and his dad, Charlie. Haven't seen them in quite a while, actually. The last time I think was Grand Finals for Rotax at Bahrain last December, which was a fantastic event. But yeah, he talked to me about, you know, having to do, you know, race with Comets this weekend. It's still going to give him good practice for the Vera Tools Motorsport UK British Kart Championships finale for I think it's Honda Cadet and all the Rotax classes in 3 weeks here. So it is a double header on the 15th and 16th of October. But yeah, it's really good to see him sporting the Argenti Motorsport overalls once again. He was in the Team UK outfit in Bahrain. But yeah, should be a very, very good shout out here. And also, yesterday, celebrating his birthday, I did say there would be some being mentioned. William Young's dad, Peter, celebrated his birthday yesterday. So many happy returns, and of all the places, you end up at a karting circuit.
Where else would you want to be?
Exactly. Also have to give a shout out to Jack Burgess from X-Kart, who's celebrating his birthday this weekend, and he's here spectating and supporting the team. But we're about to get underway.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. We're about to get underway, and I was I was then about to go into, but I don't think we are.
Yeah. No, go around once again.
And good to hear from Kate Taylor, Kai Bicini's mum, on the chat. Good luck to Will Young, Lewis Wild, and all the crop promotion drivers. Thank you very much, Kate. Good to hear from you. Give my best to Dan and Kai.
The drivers get another excuse to warm up those tyres a bit more, warm up the engines as well.
Yep.
A couple of drivers falling off the back of the pack a little bit, maybe just giving them some space to properly go for it. Get nice and warmed up. But another decent sized grid for this one, 25 drivers in total. And with a number of names that we see fighting up near the top of the order. And as you say, with the random grids all sprinkled nicely throughout the pack. So this could be quite an interesting one.
Yeah, Jamie Rogers has pinged in the chat. Harry Gibson last to first. Big eyeballs. That's the thing with emojis as well. When they started coming in, I was just like thinking, what on earth are these? And now I've got used to emojis and GIFs, and it's normally a given when it's on a Discord server as well. But I think they're about to get underway, John.
Indeed, round the final they come. We've got Willis and Light on that front row, who's going to be leading out the first corner. We do get it underway. Lots of squirming in the back of the pack there, just trying to make up any position they can. All a bit wide there for one of our drivers in the mid-pack as well. Keeps it on the black stuff though, that's all that matters. Some moving over to the inside to defend here. Move for second place as well, that's the 23 and the 11 having a battle. Edmonds tried it around the outside on Ellis, but it wasn't going to work. That's allowed for Willis in the lead to just begin to break away already.
Yep, and that's a nice little advantage to have at that early stage of the race. You know, that's probably the best part of 6 to 8 kart lengths, which probably could equate to about 3 to 4 tenths of a second. But Charlie Ellis and Tommy Edmonds really going hammer and tongs down the back straight into the boot. Looks like David Outlationer might have made up a couple of positions, which I was trying to keep my eyes peeled. There is the 65, and he's right behind Archie Walker. Oh, and curb warning, that's the first one, and Outlationer gets pinged for it as they come through. Will Young being challenged by Archie Walker as they go into oblivion and crit once again.
Indeed, yeah, like, oh, we've got an incident up at Christmas. I think that was 4th or 5th position. That's the 23 and the 11. No, it was 2nd and 3rd. So Charlie Ellis and Tommy Edmonds both dropping down the order there. We didn't see how the move started, but we saw how it ended on the grass.
Not great at the top of the crest of the hill. The 26-foot elevation change coming up from Fine Lady up Manuel's Bank. It's quite a rate of knots. It's a good place for slipstreaming. I've just seen that Archie Walker's trying to go up the inside of Will Young. For position. They're round about at the bottom part of the top 20, but that might change depending on how far Ellis and Edmonds have dropped down the order.
Indeed, he makes some absolute Christmas bangers, doesn't he, Will Young? So good to see him on the kart track as well. That's a terrible one from me, I do apologise.
Well, Charlie Ellis in the meantime has dropped right down to the back of the field. And
he has.
That's a bit of a shame for what was going to be a really good battle for P2 and P3.
It was looking good, but that's just allowed for our leader, Ryan Willis, to get even more of a lead. Now 1.3 seconds back to Jamie Perrelli, but he is very quick. So we'll see whether he's able to reduce that gap out to the front. And you were saying beforehand it was Harry Gibson, wasn't it? They were saying they wanted the last to first. Well, he's doing pretty well at the moment, up to 16th already from, I believe it was 22nd or 23rd place on the grid.
I have to give a shout out to Chris Adams, Tom's dad. Tom securing KZ2 third place in the Motorsport UK British Kart Championships this year. He said that Lucas Ellingham was standing at the back of the grid, so he's probably in some sort of support capacity this weekend. Thank you very much, Chris, for that one. Good to see that you're watching as well. I hope Tom's well, along with the rest of the family.
Yeah, speaking of KZ2s, I saw those last time out at British Kart Champs. They are just mental. I've never seen them in real life, and on the stream it doesn't do them justice how fast they are. They were absolutely ridiculous, but back to Senior Max here at round 9 of the Whilton Mill Kart Club. The number 40 apparently under some pressure from Smith now as they go into the boot. And that gap staying kind of similar out to the leaders up front. They've also got Lorenzo Cordal just behind in the number 20. Sat in 4th place now and just watching and waiting like we've seen before. Two guys battling near the front of the pack can often have some comings together. And he's just sat there waiting in the wings to see if something like that does indeed occur. But up through Christmas they go. They've also got Alex Eads and Samuel Hawthorne just behind as well. Samuel Hawthorne sets the fastest lap of the race that last time around, a 45.28 from himself. As we see this battle continuing, it's the 38 at the front of this one, so that's Scott Smith. And he's actually got past Jamie Perrelli, and Jamie Perrelli could lose another position here, and does indeed. The 20 of Lorenzo Cordal goes through, and Perrelli now under more pressure around the outsides, trying Alex Eads, I think. But no, Alex is going to get overtaken. I might get a double overtake here with the 17. No, he's going to get squeezed wide, and he's going to lose it out again. So lots of battling, but you wouldn't be able to tell if you were just watching the timing, as they stay exactly the same as they were the lap before. But a bit of contact involved there through the boot.
Yeah, Hawthorne had the left rear wheel on the grass. Alex Eads gets pinged for a track limit warning. But yeah, it just goes to show how hard these drivers are pushing. I mean, Alex Eads has a curriculum V tie, probably as long as his Instagram description. But he's a very he's raced competitively elsewhere. So from that respect, you know, good to see him up at the sharper end of the grid. But now he's really putting Jamie Perley in the number 40 under pressure for P4 as they go into the boot.
Indeed, yeah, lots of battling going on. I think Jamie Perley's probably quite happy that they got in a bit of a kerfuffle there, because it did allow him to keep his fourth position, but still leading this group of four with Eads, Hawthorne, and now Fernahoe, I think it is, behind as well. In that number 53, it is indeed, has joined this gaggle. And that's allowed for Smith and Cordell, who got through on Perley only a couple of laps ago, to start to break away. But that gap between now Smith in second and Willis still in the lead is still 1.1 seconds. So that stayed about the same. So Willis managing the pace well. But Smith and Cordell now in free air. So will they be able to close down that gap? We're going to have to wait and see. Just less than 3 minutes to go. That was a late move down in the back of this pack. That was Fernahoe trying it on Hawthorne, I think. We can't quite see them in this shot. So we're going to have to wait and see who ended up making it out ahead. It was the 70 of Hawthorne who kept the place.
Right, Charlie Ellis unfortunately retired on lap 1. Luke Collins pitting, as well as David Outlechner on lap number 5. Lap 8 underway. And Alex Eads really, again, putting that pressure. Sam Hawthorne's coming back into the mix, and he was fastest in the first sector on the previous lap. And now we look, it's 3 line astern. That's 4th, 5th and 6th. Jude Fernahoe's not too far behind, down in 7th position, and then a further nearly 9/10 of a second back. Bit of a run wide there. That is from Hawthorne, who goes towards the outside of Ashby's on Alex Eads and makes the move through.
Yeah, that was an impressive one. It's all still continuing to change, and that gap to the leader has begun to drop now. 2/10 gained by Smith on that last lap, and he's starting to drop Cordell as well. So we could see a two-way battle between Willis and Smith for the win here. Just less than 2 minutes to go now, as Willis, to be fair, does answer with his fastest lap of the race. However, it still wasn't quite as fast as Scott Smith and Lorenzo Cordell, both getting very similar lap times, as Jamie Perley now sets the fastest lap of the race, a 45.20. As he's still leading that little pack, but managing to clear them a little bit. Now he's got back in his rhythm. He got knocked about for a couple of laps, lost a couple of positions, but has gained back his pace and has his head back in the game. Here we see the 38 of Smith. This is your P2 man, and there's the 42 of Willis just ahead. So eyes forward for Smith, full focus on that leader and chasing down that gap.
Yeah, but still Senior Rotax, as always, providing great entertainment, like you said in the paddock show and at the top of the broadcast here on Alpha Live. Senior Rotax never fails to entertain. But there have been some changes. Archie Walker's made his way up to 17th position. Will Ellswood in 6th, in the 6th, is now up to 12th. Samuel Cook gets a contact warning down in 20th position. So might have been, if he's tried to move on Joshua Valance in the 28, that might have come as a result of that incident there, or whether that might have involved Will Young in the 22 kart. But yeah, with 30 seconds to go, I mean, Jamie Perley's now closing in on Lorenzo Cordell, and that's for P3.
Yeah, he's really up the pace, hasn't he, Perley? Closing back down Cordell for that P3, as you say. One thing I have noticed, though, Lucas, last name I can't pronounce, isn't even on the timing screens. So we're supposed to be P5 on the grid for this. But I've looked a few times, and I definitely cannot see him.
Yeah, Ivaskovicius not on the grid. I think that surname is Lithuanian, possibly, because I was corrected by quite a few Lithuanians in Europe this year. We've had another ping, and this time Tommy Edmonds in the number 23, who's 15th, gets a track limit warning. So they are being policed quite significantly by race control at the moment.
Indeed, yeah, race control doing their job very well, as always. Perley's really closed up this gap to Cordell, but they're going to have one more lap to get it done. Is he going to be able to go for a move? Smith closed down the gap to about 7/10 of a second on Willis, but it stayed kind of similar. Now down to 6/10 as they go into the final lap. I don't think he's going to be close enough to go for any moves here, as Jude Fernahoe now sets the fastest lap of the race, the first driver to drop down into the 44s.
Yeah, not far off of the 45s, but a 44.97. But yeah, a great job so far by Ryan Willis. But Scott Smith might be getting closer and closer, but time is fast running out for the number 38 in second position.
Indeed, time is fast running out, as you say. Don't think he's closed it in fast enough. And Willis has done very well with the pressure, as he was closed in on by Smith throughout this race, as Smith got ahead of Perley, with Cordell following as well, but they're going to come around the final corner, and it is going to be Ryan Willis who takes the win in Senior Max Heat 2, following along the line of Scott Smith. But look how close that is. Perley gets it on the last lap. Hawthorne through on Cordell as well. Cordell ending up in 5th place there, really, really close across the line. And it was Fernahoe just behind them in 6th. with Eads behind them as well in 7th. And it was Brandon Klein, Nagelvort, Jack Steadman and James Jackson rounding out your top 10 in that one.
Oh, that was a very bit close for comfort between them.
There was a good 5 of them over the line at the end there.
I mean, that was what? That was just over 2.5 tenths separating 3rd from 6th position. But next up, ladies and gentlemen,